When using clay, the first thing we learn is the pinch. And so all of us as little kids, most of us are pretty familiar with Play-Doh, things like that. You know, the pinching sensation, kind of lovely. Being able to pinch the clay is the first thing that we deal with. Now, doing this very simple thing, you can actually do a lot with our clay. Now, our clay that we're going to be using today is an oil-based clay, so you'll notice my hands have gotten a little bit colored, and there's kind of an oily feeling to it, and there's ways that we can clean our hands off that'll help get most of that stuff off, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But the first thing you do when you get your clay is you need to warm it up, because this clay is cold, and heat will make it more plastic, meaning it will move and squish more. So the best way to do that is to form it in a ball, is just to sort of pass it back and forth in your hands, kind of just letting the warmth of your hands warm it up, and just kind of squishing it lightly and gently, and then it becomes much more pliable so that we can turn it into our first thing as we practice making our pinch pots. Okay, so once you get it pretty flexible there, pretty plastic, I'm going to roll it into a ball. And so, I'd say don't roll it necessarily on the table. We'll get quite a bit of grease or quite a bit of green on the table, sort of greasy. So we're just going to roll it in our hands. Does not have to be in a perfect sphere. Just get it pretty round, nice and round, just like so. Okay, so once you have it here, the first thing you need to do is we're going to be pushing our thumb into sort of the middle of this. Now, you don't want to push all the way through, because then you're going to end up with the end layer very thin, and we want to make sure that we have a certain amount of thickness all the way around. So I'm going to kind of cup it in my hand like so. I'm going to press my thumb in a ways, and that's pretty good. I'll kind of wiggle it out. Okay. Now, as I do this, I'm going to be cupping it with my non-dominant hand. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my left hand. And we're going to be pinching as we go. And so I'm going to sort of be putting my index finger and my middle finger in here as well. And I'm going to be sort of pinching just a little bit, and I'm kind of dragging the clay as I go. And as the opening gets a little bigger, I can get more fingers in there, and I can continue to pinch, and I can drag, and then I can get these fingers in there. I can continue to pinch and drag, and you can see that's starting to look like a little pot, and the walls of my pot are extending sort of outward or upward. Okay, and I'm sort of maintaining a thickness. If you just sort of pinch all over here, what happens is it goes out, and this gets way too thin. Okay, and we don't want to practice that way. So we're sort of dragging the clay, keep dragging the clay out there. You can feel that there's more thickness here at the bottom, so I can actually pull that clay out more like so. You can feel free to, if you want to widen this, okay, you can sort of push in the inside and having my hand against it like so, and I'm pulling the walls of the pot out and stretching the clay as I go, but I'm still pushing against my hand, because if I just kind of did this, it would pull way far out and it would tear. Okay, and so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with a pot where all the walls are the same thickness, the base is pretty much the same thickness, and all the walls are about the same height. Okay, so this one looks pretty good, like so. That's a pretty good one. Okay, now we're going to do this 2 times. We're going to do it 1 time, and then we'll squish it all up. We'll try again and do it a 2nd time, just to make sure that you've practiced it twice. And once you feel that you have mastered this, and you can take a look and you can raise your hand and show me, and I'll say, yes, go ahead and do a 2nd time. The 3rd time, if I feel that you have mastered this particular skill with the pinch, then you can go ahead and you can create any school appropriate little mini sculpture with this clay. Now, cleaning up your hands, sort of when we're done, when we're cleaning up, we're just going to simply squish it back it up, squish it back into a little ball like so. It'll be done. We just set it in front of us, and then I will come around and I'll pick it up. But for cleaning our hands, figured out pretty well that our hand sanitizer, put a couple of pumps on there, 2 good pumps, really get things kind of wet on your hands. And we've got some communal towels, and we'll sort of wipe it off. The green's kind of coming off on there, okay? And you can see that this hand is pretty clean. This hand one is a little bit dirty, but this will get kind of most of it off, and you can feel that the greasy is not as it's not as noticeable on your hands. Now, if you're still really worried about having your hands being kind of green, there will be a chance to wash your hands at the sink.